Okay, the next topic is structure of an anatropous ovule. Okay, so let's first try to understand what is anatropous ovule. Anatropous ovule is a completely inverted ovule turned back 180 degree on its top, right? So you can see this ovule is completely inverted. Correct, it is totally completely inverted ovule, which is generally making a 180 degree angle on its top. That is generally a anatropous ovule. Now, when you talk about the anatropous ovule is an ovule which is generally present in a angiospermic plant. Angiospermic plants are the plants which are generally highly flowering plants, right? So let's have a structure of anatropous ovule. Okay, so anatropous ovule, before that, what is ovule? Ovule is an egg containing apparatus. Correct, egg containing apparatus means ovule is a structure which generally contains a egg, which is a female gamete, right? Now when you talk about this anatropous ovule, right, it is basically made up of two important parts. One is generally called as the stalk of the ovule, and second is generally called as the body of the ovule. First part is generally stalk. Stalk is also called as the funicle. It is a type of a point where the ovule is attached to the placenta of the ovary. Correct? This is the ovule, and ovule gets attached to the placenta of the ovary by a stalk. That stalk is generally called as the funicle. Right? Second, it is said that wherever the point of attachment of the ovule to the funicle is generally called as the hilum or the hilus, right? Okay, if the funicle is present in a ovule, it is generally called as funiculated ovule, and if the funicle is absent, then it is generally called as non-funiculated or sessile ovule, right? So the function of the funicle is nothing but it generally provides the mechanical support to the entire ovule. That is, the entire part or the body of the ovule maintains its posture, maintains its support only on the funicle. So funicle generally provides mechanical support to the ovule. Come on to the second part, which is generally called as the body of the ovule, right? Body of the ovule is made up of following important parts. The first part is generally called as the nucellus. Nucellus is a major central part of the ovule. It is generally made up of diploid parenchymatous cell, right? Nucellus generally contains your female gametophyte or the embryo sac. This is the embryo sac or a female gametophyte which is enclosed in the nucellus, right? Now, the function of the nucellus. Nucellus generally provides nourishment to the developing embryo sac, right? That's why nucellus is nutritive in function. Second part is generally called as integuments, right? Integuments are the outermost protective covering of the nucellus. I mean to say is that the nucellus is generally bounded or covered by our outermost protective covering, which is generally called integument. There are two integuments. One is called outer integument and second is called inner integument. Outer integument and inner integument are generally present around the nucellus. The function of integument. After fertilization, the integuments develops into the seed coat. That is, outer integument gets condensed to form testa and inner integument gets condensed to form tegmen. Third part is nothing but chalazal end or chalaza. Chalazal end or chalaza is the basal end of the ovule, and this plays an important role in the formation of the integument. So the function of the chalazal end is it plays an important role in the formation of the integuments, which are the protective covering seen around the nucellus. Fourth one is generally micropyle, right? So at the terminal end of the integument, right? At the terminal end of the integument, there is a small narrower opening or a passage. That small narrower opening is generally called as the micropyle, right? So micropyle is a narrower opening which is generally present at the terminal end of the integument, and the function of the micropyle is that it generally provides the entry for the pollen tube carrying male gamete towards the female gamete. That is the function of the micropyle. Last, that is nothing but your embryo sac, which is also called as the female gametophyte, right? So embryo sac or the female gametophyte is generally made up of three components, right? The first one is generally called as the antipodal cell, second is generally called as secondary nucleus, and third is generally called as the egg apparatus. Antipodal cells are haploid in nature. Antipodal cells are formed at the chalazal end, and this antipodal cell after fertilization undergoes degeneration. So the function of the antipodal cell is they are degenerative cell, as after fertilization they undergo degeneration. Second is secondary nucleus. Secondary nucleus is generally formed by two haploid daughter nuclei. They are diploid in condition. Function: after fertilization, secondary nucleus develops into the endosperm, which is triploid in nature. Third one is generally called as the egg apparatus. In the egg apparatus, the central cell is generally called as the egg cell, and the two flanked cells are generally called as the synergids. Egg cell and the synergids are haploid in nature. After fertilization, the egg cell undergoes formation for the zygote, and the synergid cells after fertilization undergo degeneration, right? So this is the structure of the entire body of the ovule, which is made up of following part: nucellus, integument, chalazal end, micropyle, and the embryo sac or the female gametophyte, which is 7-celled 8 nucleated structure. Thank you.